Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Beneath the Silence, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma. I'm Sandy Joy and your host, and I thank you for being here. And a warm, warm welcome for those new to the podcast, as well as those who are returning. Thank you. Today's episode 22, is Recovery and Repair. What does healthy recovery look like for my porn and or sex addicted partner? And again, I want to be very clear, this can be for any addiction. This healthy recovery framework will work for any addiction. So I'm going to be answering, one of the most important and misunderstood questions about betrayal trauma recovery. It's what does it look like? How will I know if my partner is in recovery, or that they're engaging in the sexually deceptive behavior or whatever deceptive behavior that might look like. So this podcast is not, or this episode is not about white knuckling abstinence. It's not performing remorse. It's not about earning forgiveness, and it's not about rushing reconciliation. Okay. And I just want to add, just like always, I don't edit my podcast, so I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to be human. I don't edit the podcasts. I like them to be real, raw, and vulnerable. And if I can't be vulnerable with you, um, it, human beings, to form connections, we need to be vulnerable. And I think that's very important. It's something very important to me. And we're not perfect. We make mistakes, and it's okay. It's we're human. Okay. So this episode, like the episodes just in the recent past, is very much grounded in the work of Dr. Omar Minwalla, who developed the integrity abuse disorder framework and his deceptive sexuality and trauma treatment models. He was the founder of the Institute of Sexual Health in California. Um, and this episode is also grounded in the work of Craig Perra, who is the founder of the Mindful Habit System and whose work emphasizes daily integrity, nervous system regulation, and relational accountability. You may find that the work of from Minwalla and Perra, can cross over a little bit. And I am I've met and worked with Craig Perra in the past. I have never met Dr. Minwalla, but one day I really hope I can and will. Um, Need to reach out to him and just see if he will maybe come on a podcast. I would love that if he would. But I credit both of those men, as well as Craig's wife, Michelle, as my saviors back in 2016. I don't know where I would be or what I would have done without their work, finding their work, and the support through their work. Okay, so why I'm using their work regarding this healing recovery is because simply stopping behavior, which is typical of the traditional addiction models, is just stopping the behavior. It's not the same as recovery or becoming safe, either for the person with the addiction or helping people become safe when they have experienced betrayal trauma. Okay, so why is sobriety not recovery? And it's because traditional addiction models define success as abstinence. Okay, but from a a betrayal trauma perspective, and that's being trauma informed, abstinence alone does not address the core injury. We talked about, pardon me, in last episode, and the one before that, and the one before that as well. So Dr. Minwalla is very explicit when he says the central harm to partners is not the sexual acting out. So not the deceptive behavior or not the behavior itself, the sexual acting out. It is the deception. It is the entitlement. And that can, again, and it's lack of empathy. And again, that transfers to all kinds of addiction, all forms of addiction. Okay. So a person can be sober, and that means they're not doing the thing, whether that is watching pornography, sexually acting out, gambling, drinking, substance abuse, like taking drugs, whatever. Workaholism is an addiction. Okay. So not doing the thing, but they can be sober and still be lying, still omitting information, gaslight, protect the secrets, minimize harm, and demand trust prematurely. I don't understand why you don't trust me. I'm not doing that. I'm not watching porn. I'm not acting out. I'm not gambling. Why don't you trust me? Does that feel safe? People with the addiction, does that feel safe to you? It's not safe to you. Can't be trusted without safety. From the partner's nervous system, this means danger is still present. Clinically, recovery must address truth restoration, consent repair, empathy development, and integrity across all areas, all domains. Okay? Sobriety without integrity is not recovery. It is behavior management. I'm going to read that and say that again. Sobriety without integrity is not recovery. It is behavior management. Full stop. So I'm going to talk about integrity abuse recovery from Dr. Minwalla and the core pillars of this recovery. So Dr. Minwalla has 35 steps to recovery, but they're not a checklist. It's not like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, it's not a checklist. What these pillars, or these steps, if you will, they represent a fundamental shift from entitlement to accountability. Okay. From that, I deserve it. I'm stressed out. It helps relax me. Whatever the case, that is entitlement rather than accountability. Okay. So the first pillar is radical honesty and reality restoration. Okay. So what does that look like? It looks like healthy and full honesty, no minimization. As soon as you say something that's honest, but then you minute, well, it's not as bad. Minimization, what you just said before it, the honesty goes right out the door. Doesn't exist. Okay. Healthy recovery also requires no strategic disclosure and no protective truths. I don't want to hurt her. That says more about you than her. She deserves the truth, or he deserves the truth. Because not all perpetrators are men, and not all survivors are women. The majority are on both sides. Majority of perpetrators are male. Majority of survivors are female, but it doesn't mean it can't be the opposite way. And in fact, I have helped many men who have been they're survivors. Okay. So betrayal trauma occurs because a partner's reality was false. Recovery must restore shared reality. Because you see, many survivors will say their whole relationship has been a lie because of finding out about addiction or when addiction started. And in the case of pornography addiction, often it starts as an adolescent. For many people, or even before adolescence. It the partner's reality, without knowing about the addiction, the partner believes that what they experience is all lies, is all false. What I tend to say to partners is what you experience, what your behavior for survivors, what their behavior is I'm going to stop just for a second. My pup is dreaming and she's making noise. So if you can hear little squeaks, she's dreaming in her sleep. So I'll go back to what I was going to say here. Betrayal trauma occurs because a partner's reality was false. Now, many partners who have experienced betrayal trauma believe that their whole life with the perpetrator is a lie, has been a lie. And in many instances, that is true because they have been lied to and deceived for, if not all, much or a big component of the relationship. What I tend to say to survivors is that their experience, their behavior, their actions was true for them. How they felt in that moment was true for them. Any given moment of was true because they were coming from a place of integrity, honesty, loyalty, and love and trust. And that's why it's important that we learn to trust our gut instincts. Okay? But recovery must restore that shared reality. Not, well, well, we did have a good time when we went there. We did, I do love you. If you were in addiction, if you were acting out, even if you weren't in addiction, but you were acting out inappropriately, flirting, it's the entitlement, the deceptive sexual behavior, and that includes flirting with integrity abuse disorder with Dr. Minwalla. That is unacceptable. Whether your partner knows about it or not, unacceptable. It is, it is integrity abuse. And so the reality, when you say, well, that was true. I did feel that way. I did love you, then. If your behavior was deceptive, then those things aren't true. And were not true for you. And so it's coming to the realization with accountability that the reality of the person betrayed versus the reality of the perpetrator of the betrayal is two different things. And where recovery happens is when we can restore a shared reality of, yes, I was not truthful and I did harm you. And I can't make it up to you because I can't change it. But what I can do is change today. I can go forward, live in integrity, live in accountability, live in honesty, live in loyalty, live in truth and love. That's where the shared reality comes back. So truth is not shared to relieve guilt. It is shared to restore informed consent. If you are acting out sexually or otherwise, there is not informed consent. Accountability without defensiveness. So this is the second pillar. Accountability means naming the harm clearly. This is what I did. And I am so sorry. And I can't change it, but this is what I can do moving forward. Accepting responsibility without explanation or justification. Well, you pissed me off, or you wouldn't do that sexual act, or whatever I wanted. That's projection. That is blaming the survivor or Darvo, blaming the victim. And it is not recovery. It is not accountability. It is projection. And it's not okay. It's more abuse. Name or not blaming addiction, stress, trauma, or the relationship, and not centering shame. That's yours. So for the perpetrator person, if you've got shame inside you, that the perpetrator of the betrayal, that is yours to work through with your therapist. That is not for your partner to help you with. Okay. And if you blame the addiction, you're not holding accountability. Addiction is choice. No one starts out to be choosing that they're going to be addicted, but they do choose the addictive behavior and they become addictive, and you can ask for help. But when you blame the addiction, it was because of the addiction. I didn't know what I was doing. You're still making a choice to use whatever that addiction is. Okay. And it's coming to terms with the choice, not blaming stress, not blaming trauma. The majority of us as human beings have experienced trauma, whether in our childhood, adolescent, or young adult life, or last week. We cannot blame trauma as the cause. Many, many people, I'm going to argue, I would argue the majority of people who have experienced trauma do not go on to traumatize others because they know what the trauma is like. Okay. Or blame the relationship. The addiction and the especially in the porn and sex addiction has nothing, zero, zilch to do with the relationship. It has everything to do with choice. If you were in a relationship that is supposed to be monogamous and you are holding, well, my partner, I'm going to use my own, I didn't want to be submissive. I wanted to, for me, a safe relationship is having equal control. I did not want to be bound, literally and figuratively, as a submissive person who had no control in a sexual relationship, romantic relationship. Okay. Well, you don't do that with me. I'm going to find other people to do it with. Not that my partner or my husband at that time ever said any of those things to me. He just did it and put my life at risk. Unhealthy accountability sounds like, I didn't mean to hurt you. That's not what I intended. I'm doing everything right now. Not helpful, and it's not accountability. Accountability is, I realize you're triggered. What do you need from me? I am so sorry I have caused you this pain. I did this to you. What do you need from me? And sometimes your partner may need you to be there beside them, hold them, or just be in the room. And other times you need to get out of their face and listen and respect it. Healthy accountability sounds like, I caused harm. I caused you harm. I understand why this traumatized you. I understand why this triggered you. I can't imagine the pain that you're feeling. I wish I could fix it, and I can't because I did that behavior. What do you need from me right now? And healthy accountability also looks like, you don't owe me trust or forgiveness. You don't owe me anything. It's my role to work to regain trust and or forgiveness if you so choose those. The third pillar is empathy as a skill, not a feeling. Both Minwalla and Perra emphasize that empathy is not automatic. It's not an act. It's something that must be learned. It's a skill, okay? But it also has to be felt truthfully. So when it says empathy as a skill, not a feeling, we have to practice it. We have to practice what it looks like. So with pornography and deceptive sexuality or deceptive addiction of any kind, often erode empathy through low emotional intelligence. Always there's low emotional intelligence, okay? But it's through objectification, it's through compartmentalization, it's through entitlement, and it's through avoidance of partner impact. I can't hear it. I'm leaving the room. Oh, here you go again. They may need to say something 50 times because you avoid it. That's not empathy. Empathy must be practiced daily, including listening without correcting, because the survivor's narrative is their reality. Staying present with pain, because we often want to avoid it. And that shame may come up inside and we want to avoid it too. But it's staying with the uncomfortableness. Allowing anger and grief. Allowing that anger and grief to be experienced by the survivor. It's real. And not rushing their healing or your healing. To say, I'm not doing the thing. I'm good. I'm good now. Okay. Empathy precedes repair. In other words, you can't have repair without integrity, as we learned last episode, and you can't have repair without empathy. The fourth pillar is integrity across all domains, all areas of life. Okay. Integrity abuse is rarely confined to sex or to addiction. Healthy recovery includes financial honesty, that all the money and investments is gone and I spent it, rather than blaming the survivor who had no access to it. Emotional transparency. I'm really struggling right now. And I'm having these thoughts. I'm having, I'm just really struggling, and allowing the survivor to say, what do you need from me? Okay. Boundary respect. If they say, I can't see you right now, I'm just so angry, I can't see you, just leave. It doesn't mean leave forever. It just means leave the room. And clarify, do you want me to leave the room or leave the house? Okay. I'll wait for your message to come back. No compartmentalization. And congruence between words and actions. So many people go, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like, why don't you just trust me? I love you, I love you. Boom. And that boom may not be actual physical using your fist, but it may be another lie. That's the boom. I love you means break all, means nothing. Your words mean nothing without the actions to back them up. Truth, transparency, actions. You know the saying, actions speak louder than words? It is so true. Integrity is not compliance. It is character consistency. Character consistency. I'm struggling today. And you know what? We all have days that we're just off. Let your partner know. Let the survivor know you are off. You're not doing the thing. You're just, whether you didn't sleep well or you're not feeling well, whatever the case, and then tell them what you need. Okay. And the same with the survivor. Sometimes we're just off and it's okay. We all have that. Okay. And the fifth pillar here is acceptance of any outcome. And perhaps this is the most overlooked component. Truth recovery accepts the possibility that the relationship may not survive. It might, but it may not. And entitlement to reconciliation signals unresolved integrity abuse. I'm doing all this work. Well, if you're doing all this work, hopefully it's for yourself. Because if you're doing all this work, it has to be for yourself. And I'm talking to people with the addictions. You can't do it for your partner. You can't do it to save your marriage or your relationship. Can't do it for your children. You can't do it for your job. Can't do it for your family. Can't do it for your dog. You have to do it for yourself because you believe you deserve to be in full recovery and make repairs. Otherwise, you'll just go right back into your habits. You'll go right back into the behaviors and you will carry them into the next relationship. And you will continue to harm your family, your children, your dog, or your cat, or whatever pet that you may have. You have to do it because you want to change for you. Full stop. Recovery is not a bargaining chip. So, Craig Perra emphasizes that recovery must be observable, embodied, and sustained, and must be practiced daily. So, Craig Perra suggests that healthy recovery includes daily structure, have a routine, okay? Emotional literacy, being able to name your emotions, be vulnerable. Nervous system regulation, know what to do and recognize when your nervous system isn't regulated. Emotional regulation entails emotional recognition. So that's part of the emotional literacy is you have to have emotion recognition. I'm frustrated. I'm stressed. I'm angry. I'm sad. Whatever it is, be able to name it, feel it, and be able to regulate it yourself by having coping strategies, relaxation techniques, whatever that might look like for you. And it's different for everyone. Healthy recovery includes accountability relationships, and that's not the relationship with your partner. That is accountability with others who have gone before you and have recovered, not are in recovery, but have recovered. And I want to stress that very, very clearly because you may trigger each other off. Okay. Transparency practices. This is not surveillance. This is my phone is here. It's not blocked. I can have the family find or the, friend finder or whatever it's called on the phone on, and it's not about surveillance. It's about transparency. Okay. and recovery outside the partner. Okay. This is healthy recovery, is that there is full recovery, regardless if you have a partner or not, or you may have a partner or not. There's full recovery. So what recovery is not? It is not demanding trust. I don't know why you don't trust me. Right there, that shows that you're not trustworthy. Okay. Policing the partner's healing. You're doing too much. You're reading too much. You're having too much therapy. Okay. Weaponizing therapy language. You're shaming me. Using trauma to avoid accountability. Oh, this is what I experienced, This is what I experienced. This was done to me. That's all I know. No, no, we know how bad it is when it's been done to us. And we can't use it as an excuse to avoid harming and hurting other people. No excuse for harming, hurting, abusing other people ever. Censoring shame and expecting timelines. Well, how long is this going to go on? How long are you going to be triggered? How long, is that this is going to be forever? We don't know. It's going to be based on the recovery, the accountability, the repair, the empathy, level of all of these things, the trust, and the partner seeking their own, the survivor seeking their own support and growth. Shame-based recovery often recreates emotional volatility, withdrawal, defensiveness, and resentment. Recovery should reduce harm, not relocate it. And when we say reduce, not saying you're the one, you're shaming me, you're the one that's doing it to me. That's Darvo. Talked about Darvo in the first few episodes of the podcast. It's deny, then accuse or attack the victim, the true survivor, and then it becomes reverse victim offender. Now the perpetrator becomes the victim. So in this section is what partners could, that what they, I don't want to, I've got the word should here, and I don't like the word should. No, there's no shoulds. We should on ourselves when we use the word should. What partners could look for. Okay. Partners often ask, how do I know if recovery is real? Signs of healthy recovery. Truth without pressure. Okay. There's no demand for the truth. The truth is just given. I had these thoughts today. I was triggered and ended up with these thoughts. And this is what I'm doing. This is what I did when I had those thoughts. Truth without pressure. Consistency across time. Empathy without defensiveness. Boundaries honored. Transparency offered. And patience without healing or with healing. And a survivor's healing journey. If your nervous system feels calmer rather than more confused, recovery may be occurring. You will feel it. I always say to partners, to survivors, that you will see basically a 180, a complete change in that it feels authentic. It feels genuine. It's like, I don't know who this person is, because you may never have had that person before. And that's why you don't know who this person is, this newer person, but it feels good. And at first it's really hard to trust, really, really hard to trust, because we don't know how long that will last. But with the consistency across time, when there's patience with your healing, your own healing, where there's empathy without being defensive, when your boundaries are honored, you will find that what you feel When you feel calmer, rather than more confused or more hurt, it's that recovery is happening. That's where we can start forming that base of trust. Okay. But without trust, there's no safety. Trust is the foundation. So, takeaways from today is sobriety is not recovery, integrity is. Empathy and accountability are non negotiable. Non negotiable. And healthy recovery accepts outcomes without entitlement. I did all this work. I'm in recovery. I'm, being so kind to you and nice to you and so on, and you're still going to leave me. They may. They may not be able to piece back that trust with you, and that's up to them. Partner survivors, and I know I've said this before, and I'll probably say it again, is that this was what was said to me by my therapist. The only decision you need to make today is no decision. If you're not ready to make a decision about staying or going, you don't need to make that today. Tomorrow will look after itself. You will know when you're ready to make that decision. Take it off your plate, take it off your shoulders. The only decision you need to make today is no decision. You will know, and people always ask me, how will I know, Sandy? You will know because you'll trust your gut instinct. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be fear or pain either way. There will be, that I can promise you. There will be fear and pain. Fear of the unknown and pain because it happened. Okay. So I want to thank you for joining me today in Beneath the Silence, Healing the Wounds of Betrayal Trauma. If this episode resonated with you, please let me know. Leave a comment or send me an email at sandy@sandrajoy.ca. And remember that healing is possible even from the deepest, darkest wounds. If you'd like more resources, you can go to my website. And of course, those who are interested in my betrayal trauma course, you can also find that on my website. If you're able, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps build the algorithm and makes it more noticeable, if you will, for anyone typing in betrayal, so they can find the podcast, so they too then may be able to learn and find community. Like and share the podcast if you don't want to subscribe, or if it's safe for you to like and share them. I don't want to put anybody, make them feel uncomfortable. You have to do anything. If you're able to, I would appreciate it. Thank you. And would like you to join me next week as we continue the conversation as I discuss repair, reconciliation, or separation. So I'd like to probably say that again about the only decision you need to make. So repair, reconciliation, or separation, what healing actually requires. This is about choice, agency, and safety after betrayal for the survivors. This conversation matters and is very important. You matter, and you are very important. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. And remember, I see you, I hear you, and I believe you. Until we meet again, thank you.